researcher at the University of Cambridge, Dr. Sirka told a worried audience that scientists have few answers for them.
Since the mass coronal ejection of 2012, the strength of the Earth's magnetic field has increased by a factor of 50,000. This has resulted in huge disturbances in radio and satellite communications, dangerous bands of radiation around the poles, and as we can all see from our window, an aurora borealis that never burns away. Unfortunately, we are stumped as to why this is happening, and if we cannot find an answer soon, it may change the way we live, the way we communicate, even the way we evolve, forever.
Dr. Sirka went on to say,
Bought you more electrolytes? Oh, new and improved citrus flavor.
Thanks, Sean. How do we fix this? How are you the key to everything? You're a long way from home, Eivor.
Let's save our spawns.
Did you get my tea?
Oh, mint tea is not actually tea, Bex. It's an infusion. It's really just dirty, minty water.
I don't care what you call it, Sean. Did you buy any?
Of course I did, love.
Hey, sorry about pulling you out. The generator was sputtering.
That's fine. I needed air.
How is the Animus data stream? Comfortable?
Felt pretty stable after a while.
Good. Just give me a sec and you can jump back in.
Another satellite came down. Did you see?
I did. One of Abstergo's.
That's good.
Well, most of North America just lost its GPS service, so depends what you mean by good, really.
Right. Even when we win, we lose.
Okay, we're all set. Whenever you're ready, you can jump back in.
Okay.
Please enjoy your stay. Remember, all the garbage must be packed out, and please water the plants once a day. Yeah, I won't remember that. You gonna put this in the fridge, Sean?
Of course. In half a minute.
Remember, tomatoes go on the counter, not the fridge. Sean, don't forget to water the plants while I'm under, okay?
I'll add it to the calendar and tattoo it on my leg.
Be nice to sleep in a real bed when this is over.
Feeling okay?
Better. But I'm worried that it could happen again. The two data streams.
I can't promise it won't. I barely understand it myself.
It felt like two minds, fighting over one brain. It hurt like a shotgun to the head.
Right. There's something about this Viking's DNA sample that feels dense, noisy.
Could it be the staff? Interfering somehow?
How do you mean?
My headaches, my temper. They started the day I got that thing.
I hope you're not making excuses for, you know, your friend.
Jesus, no. I'm not.
Sorry. Just take it easy. And if you feel yourself slipping again, let us know.
I'm trying. I really am. I went through hell to bring you here. It had better be worth it.
Okay.
Let's have a look.
Up top. Mailbox. Okay, so it is from the bottom up. From unknown sender to Layla Hassan. Date December 27th, 2019, 5:51 p.m. Subject RE, you. You have a gift and a curse. The gift of old blood, the curse of not understanding it. We can help if you help us. What you did is not your fault, but you must take responsibility for it, otherwise nothing gets done. One of us will contact you. If you miss us, you miss your chance. From Layla Hassan to unknown sender. Date December 27th, 2019, 5:34 p.m. Subject REU. Who the fuck is this? Ow, I should have read it going up. So first one was 449. Would your favorite baseball team happen to be the Atlantis Eagles? Who the fuck is this? And then all that stuff. From unknown sender to Layla Hassan. Date January 17th, 2020, 3:12 p.m. Subject next steps. L. One last message, after which all communication between us via this account or any other will cease. We have our own ways of talking methods that cannot be sniffed or traced. Your previous team made this mistake. They knew the risks, but they were sloppy, left traces of their activity on everything, digital fingerprints everywhere. That will not happen with us. My colleagues will tell me the initial meeting went well. They are impressed, if a little wary of the influence your new toy has on you. But they know better than most of what it means to live with such a burden. I am curious to know more about this air of memories. Epithet. It is not a phrase we have heard in all our decades of research. In a few weeks' time, we will contact you once more. If you are interested in proceeding, follow our instructions to the letter. If you are not interested, or if you break any of our protocols, this will be the last time you hear from us. Take this to heart. The world is sick and getting sicker. The Earth's magnetic field is growing stronger. Satellites are falling from the sky. Earthquakes are getting more and more frequent. And now we have credible reports of a new and deadly virus sweeping through Asia. It can feel like we're living through a Yeatsian nightmare. Mere anarchy is loose upon the world. In many ways we are. But there is hope. There is a cure. Us. In the past few months, we have come across something that may help us solve our most pressing problems. A message, a very promising message that may help us reverse the dire course we are on. If you want to be part of the solution, join us. If not, we wish you the best of luck. From Layla Hassan to unknown sender. Date January 19th, 2020, 10:34 a.m. Subject RE, next steps. I'm ready. From unknown sender to Layla Hassan. Date January 19th, 2020, 10:37 a.m. Subject RE, next steps. Good. From Layla Hassan to Rami Hassan. Date May 1st, 2020, 1:39 a.m. Subject disappearing for a while. Rami, forgive the short email. I want to call, but I'm not using phones right now, and my time is limited. I'm still recovering from my trip. Things got out of hand, and nothing went as expected. People got hurt. I told you it was for research, and it was, but not for For A. The truth is, I haven't worked for them for a few years. It's a long story, and... Was it Animus? Was that it? The truth is, I haven't worked for them for a few years. It's a long story, and I won't bother you with the details, but it wasn't for me. Leave it at that. The group I'm with now, I can't explain, not over email, but they've shown me things, given me opportunities, and opened my eyes to a broader view, but not without cost. In fact, I fucked up last year, bad, more than once, and I need to make it right. I know all this sounds cryptic. It is, but I'm not in danger, not in the way you might think. If I'm being vague, it's because I need to be. I don't want any data sniffers picking up on keywords that might raise alarms. Do I sound paranoid? A little. Here's the point. Don't worry about me. I'm with a couple of people who I trust now. They've been at this a lot longer than I have, and they're going to see me through this. I promise. At this time next year, things will be better. The skies will be clear, the earthquakes will stop, and we'll celebrate Ramadan together. It'll be just like the 90s all over again. Tell Mama and Baba I miss them and that I'm doing fine. Your sis, L. From Rami Hassan to Layla Hassan. Date May 2nd, 2020. Subject Ari disappearing for a while. I don't like the sounds of this, Layla, and I don't like where this is leading. Not using phones is not the right way to ease my mind. You have my number, I suggest you call it. And no, I won't say hello to our parents for you, because doing so would bury me in questions I cannot answer. And to tell Father that you no longer work for Abstergo, would break his heart. That's all he ever talks about, how his daughter is on the cutting edge of neuroscience. The man doesn't understand the first thing about what you do or did, and he's still proud. I will not be the one to disappoint him. Is it COVID? Is that why you're being cagey? Something else? Call him, call me, and stop this insane game of hide and seek. I just want to know that you are safe, Ram. No. From Layla Hassan to Rami Hassan. Date May 10th, 2020. 2:38 a.m. Subject, no. I don't have COVID, no, and I'm well isolated. It's just 3 of us traveling together, staying out of sight, Al. From Rami Hassan to Layla Hassan. Date May 11th, 2020. Subject Ari, no. Thanks for clearing that up in such profound detail. I'm sure I'll sleep soundly now, Ram. Alright. English locales of notes. Layla, as your triapsy about England, Bex and I thought you might want to keep your eyes open for a few things. Assassin bureaus, or the hidden ones more accurately. They operated in Roman Britain between the years 100 and 430 BCE. It's not clear why they left, but the final data corresponds roughly with the Roman exodus from Britain, so I imagine they're leaving and had something to do with the Empire's retreat. Mission accomplished, or a loss of faith? Not sure, but we do know that it was several hundred years before the Hidden Ones returned to the island. It may be Basem or Hytham, or are the first in half a century. From our own archives, I believe there were 6 main bureaus operating in the Roman period. Leicestershire, London, Winchester, York, Essex, and Gloucestershire. These won't be the Saxon names, so you'll have to read between lines. Animus anomalies. Bex noticed these, about 10 embedded in the simulation. They're dense clusters of data that may screw with your ability to navigate Eivor's memories. Approach with caution. We don't know what they'll do if you get too close. They may be harmless, they may induce occipital shock, or wipe your mind. Hard to say. Best to err on the side of hell no. But if you're curious, well, I warned you. Pieces of Eden. We don't know of any Isu artifacts you should be looking for specifically, but they're out there, and this was a period where they often cropped up in legend. Norse and Saxon songs and tales speak of them often, so keep your eyes peeled, especially around Stonehenge. How could that not be an Isu site? Session report S. Hastings. Okay, Animus session report. Date November 3rd, 2014. Operator Rebecca Crane. Subject Sean Hastings. Reporter William Miles. Preface: the transformation of the Order of the Ancients into the Templars as we know them today has always been a subject of considerable debate among our ranks. We have operated with the assumption that the Templars themselves hold some or complete knowledge of this evolution, but at present no concrete historical evidence has ever made it into our hands. What little data we do have is mostly a matter of public record with some exceptions. It is commonly understood that the origin of the Knights Templar dates back to 1119 CE, and this indeed was the appearance of the public face of the Templars. However, our records attest to the existence of Templar agents at least 2 centuries before this date. In one badly damaged document, an assassin contract from Normandy in the mid-11th century, the author makes free use of the term Templar. An earlier letter, this time from a hidden one in the region of modern-day Dorset, circa 978 CE, makes mention of a Templar spy within the ranks of the Brotherhood. From this, we can safely assume that the Templar Order, as an entity distinct from the Order of the Ancients, existed at some point in the mid-10th century. With an aim to expand our understanding of this dark age, one of our agents recently volunteered to delve into his genetic memories to search for further clues to this age-old mystery. Unfortunately, what he discovered was of little use for our purposes. Sean Hastings began the first of his 7 sessions on October 5th, 2014. Over the course of the next 3 weeks, he followed various matrilineal and patrilineal lines into the past, focusing on the 9th, 10th, and 11th century in search of assassins and or Templars in his bloodline. He found none. Of minor interest, however, was the following personage, here noted for the peculiarity of his biography. Ulriker Thorvaldsson, an early 9th century Jute who sailed north from modern-day Denmark with a wooden plank bearing a carving of a map that purported to mark the location of Thor's hammer. Ulriker made it as far as Stavanger, before running afoul of a powerful clan there. Alriker was defeated in battle and enthralled as a slave. He escaped his captivity some 10 years later and returned to Jutland to marry and settle down. The location of Alriker's map is unknown, and the existence of Thor's hammer, a precursor relic no doubt, remains unconfirmed. Alriker's ancient ancestors would later sail to England following the Normans' conquest of the island, settling in what is now called Loughborough in modern-day Leicestershire. The irony that a man named Hastings would would contain no useful genetic memory data regarding the Norman invasion of England in 1066 was not lost on our dear subject. Still, he retained his usual chipper wit and asked if he might next relive the genetic memories of his grandfather to, quote, give a Nazi a proper bullocking. Nice. It's like, alright, well, you know what? Couldn't find Mjolnir, so may as well punch a Nazi in the face. Sounds about right. I wonder if I can find Mjolnir. I wonder if, like, Mjolnir is an actual weapon there. Because if it is, I will lay down my father's axe to wield Mjolnir, if it lets me.
I lived, I died, and now I sleep. And in my sleep I dream. And in my dreams I see an end to the doom that will grip the earth once again. Find the wolf-kissed. Find the mad one. Find me. And save us all from another death.
A strange message broadcast from an unknown source north of the Arctic Circle. The message was broadcast for 9 days, then ceased. Spectrum analysis of the message revealed coordinates to a Norse gravesite in New England, USA. Interesting. Actually, give me one moment, though. I need a drink. All this reading is making my throat dry. Well, my mouth dry and my throat sore. Okay, I'm back. Hello. Sorry about that. That was strangemessage.wav. Desmond_01.wav.
No, come on, Sean. Turn that thing off.
Oh, hold on. I like what you said there. I want to get this for posterity. Say it again, nice and loud.
Seriously?
Sure, come on. If nothing else, it'll give me leverage with your old man.
Ah, that's your angle. Nice. What I said was, I wish I hadn't been born into the Assassins. I wish I had chosen this life. Is that good enough?
Sure, but why is that?
Because choice is the central idea of our creed. It underpins everything, right? It's about free will. It's about seeing the evidence before you and saying, yes, this is what I want. Or, no, this isn't for me. But when you're born into a group like this, or any other, like I was, you get mixed signals. You get told over and over again, this is what we believe. These are the rules. This is reality. No deviation. And if you question it, oh, they look at you like you killed a puppy. That's hardly free will. It's a weird irony when free will is your central belief, but nobody wants you to believe otherwise. I don't know how to say it exactly, but I always thought there was something self-destructive about our creed. If free will is the most important moral guidepost we have, we should be free to ignore it. To choose submission, for example. You know what I mean? Like, we should be free to side with the Templars. If it's really my choice, I could do that.
Right. It's almost self-refuting. A democracy could democratically elect a dictator or choose to get rid of democracy altogether. Within our creed is the seed of its own destruction. That's what makes it powerful, I think. And fragile.
Right. The more freedom you have, the more risky it is, you know? Anyway, my dad has mellowed over the years, but he was strict when we lived on the farm. He ran a tight ship. I never got the impression that I was free to choose my path forward. Our creed, our tenets, they were drilled into my head. By the time I was a teenager, I was following these rules out of a sense of duty. This was just what we did.
That happens to a lot of organizations over time. The stagnation sets in, you know? The fundamentalism.
Yeah. Following the rules becomes more important than achieving whatever goal you set out for yourself. And people start to lose sight of the reason the rules exist.
That's called deontology, or a form of it. Following a rule for its own sake and not for the consequences it has.
Yeah, but that feels backwards, doesn't it?
Well, I think so. Following a rule is the easy part. Praying, taking a sip of wine, munching on a wafer. Rituals that give comfort.
But that's just going through the motions. It makes people feel like they're doing something. When the hard work is, well, actually getting off your ass and doing something productive. I think people just want boundaries. Tight boundaries. They want to see the four walls that pen them in.
I don't disagree.
Anything outside that, anything that makes life more complex, that's scary. That's why I envy you. You chose this life. You went through that process and you decided, yes, I believe in this.
Sure. It didn't stop me from being an insufferable know-it-all as a teenager, but I see your point.
I would have loved to have been a know-it-all. I knew nothing. Not until you guys found me. Yeah. It wasn't until I met you, and Bex and Lucy, that I knew. I knew I wanted to be an assassin.
Oh, thanks, Des. Come here. Bring it in, bud. I don't normally like touching, but I'll make an exception now.
I am not hugging you.
You sure? Because I smell very nice today.
Can you just turn that off?
Audio recording dated December 19th, 2012. For Layla.wav.
Layla, thought you might be interested in this. Conversations that Bex and I had with Desmond back in 2012. December, I think.
To this one first.
Just candid talks, that's all. We didn't square any circles or write any beat poetry. But he did have some interesting insights into his time in the Animus and what it means to be an assassin. Anyway, have a listen. You might find you and he had similar experiences. So, well, let me know what you think. Unless it's to tell me I sound like a total prat in these recordings. If that's the case, just say nothing. I mean, I did have a slight cold at the time I recorded these. That's probably why I sound odd. Anyway, okay, I'm done anyway. So, turn off. Turn off. Oh, it's actually just a button. Sorry, here we go.
Message from Sean to Layla. Desmond_02.wav.
Hold on, I'll just set this here.
Do you guys record everything we talk about?
Not everything, but you've been using the Animus so much, I thought this was a good chance to learn some things about prolonged exposure.
So I'm your guinea pig?
No, my guinea pigs are all dead. The Animus was too much for them to handle.
Cute.
Can I ask you about the bleeding effect? Any recent flashes? Any memories resurfacing?
Yeah, the usual things. Ghost images of Altair and Ezio a few times a day. Nothing intrusive, just brief moments. They pass quickly, almost without me noticing. Like a figure in the corner of my eye. Or remembering a dream from the night before. I did have one extended hallucination a few days ago. It was Ezio. He was older, around the time he left Cappadocia. He was standing on the deck of a ship, alone. And through him, I could feel an intense regret or guilt. And it felt to me like he'd had a loss of faith in himself, in the creed, like he couldn't keep it up, couldn't stay true to his ideals. And as I watched him, I thought, is this the moment he decided he was done being an assassin? It felt like it. Anyway, most of my visions have been brief, lasting just a few seconds. They're like complete memories of small moments that appear suddenly out of nowhere, fully formed. It's a strange feeling.
Okay, anything else?
I'm starting to see Connor now, too. Though I hear his voice more often than I see him, I'm sure that will change. Oh, yeah, and yesterday, just before bed, I had a memory of being on a beach in the Caribbean with a bunch of sailors. Or maybe they were pirates.
So this was before,
no idea.
Huh.
Edward?
I'll look into that. And how do you feel in general?
In general? Well, I feel older, for one. Much older. And it's strangely comforting. I'm collecting the memories and skills and thoughts of so many
since I played
people.
Black Flag.
I feel like I've lived a few hundred years or more. Is it possible that if I do this for too long, it'll push my own memories aside? That I'll be everyone but myself after a while?
It's possible. That's called identity substitution. It's happened before, but it's rare. And someone with your background shouldn't need to worry.
My background? You mean someone with my genes? My abilities?
You have Isu DNA.
Isu, that's how you say it,
See
okay.
things and do things and
Glad it's clarified.
traumas that other people can't.
And I can suffer in ways that others can't. That's not something to be proud of.
You mean the apple?
Yeah, it has a pull, Bex. It tugs at my brain, it talks to me, teases me, drives me mad. And what I did to Lucy, God damn it. Nothing is worth the damage I did. The pain I caused.
I know, but you're special. That's the point.
I'm not special, Bex. I'm lucky. That's all.
I understand.
We're assassins. It's our creed that makes us different, not our genes, not our blood. Anyone can join us.
That's true. But let's leave that aside for a second. What I want to know is, have you ever had any Isu memories resurface?
Isu memories? I don't think so. I can't even begin to imagine what that would feel like.
I think you'd know if you did. Maybe one day, we might be able to induce something.
Jesus, let's fix the world first, okay? Before we start digging up my ancient ancestors.
Deal.
With my luck, I'll be related to some third-rate Isu like Sisyphus or something.
Way to aim high, buddy.
Hey, you gotta.
Audio recording dated December 20th, 2012. The Messengers. Isu Messengers 1. Rebecca, before we meet at the site, I want you to see these. Last week I reviewed the logs from my time with Bayek and came across some old notes. In the years I explored Cleopatra's Egypt, I stumbled across 6 Isu temples, most of which were buried beneath pharaonic tomb sites. Each temple contained an Isu message clearly meant for one with the ability to read genetic memories. I was the lucky one. I don't believe they were intended for Bayek himself, as he seemed wholly unaware of the messages as they played. They may have been encoded in a way that only someone with an animus could see them. It's been a few years since I last heard these messages, so my memory is foggy, but the notes I scribbled down have a clarity that I trust. Might be something to all this, I don't know. Often I grasp outside my area of expertise. I am enthusiastic, but often wrong. Let me know if something else strikes you, Layla. Message 1 excerpt. Layers upon layers of reality, each blurring with the next. Which is real and which is not? What if none are real? What if everything you know is false? We ran thousands of simulations searching for the right version, searching for Desmond. Each one of them felt real, but there's no way of truly knowing, is there? Not for sure. Anything can be simulated, and finding the answer could mean erasure. Teasing the assassin Maxim. Nothing is true. Must be careful not to confuse truths with facts, however. A language game you will always lose. Though we may stumble in our attempts to interrupt it, the world, the universe, reality, what have you, it is always out there. I believe, simulated or no. We could imagine a dozen nested simulations, and each one on the level of itself would constitute a full reality. Wolfram via Conway suggests the universe is a giant cellular automata, I think that's the word. I think that's how you say it. And further, there is a point where the difference between simulated and real is meaningless. If the universe were a simulation, what would it matter? The simulation, simulation itself would be real, and therefore everything within it would be real within the confines of the simulation. Say a scientist were able to simulate pain by inducing only a few neurons to fire. No physical harm. I am in pain. The subject says, "No, you only believe you are," says the scientist. This is meaningless, as is this. You thought you were in pain, but you were mistaken. Isu Messengers 2. Message 2 excerpt. No surprise you were designed to have boundaries after all, and one cannot speak of that which one cannot conceive. The code. Equations that define life, they are nestled deep within every star and every mote of dust. Every second that passes is a word, a symbol, all part of an intricate yet simple language existing within the framework of time itself. It is the one rule which applies to us all, immutable, inescapable. We know this. Humans were the instruments of an earlier species, the Isu. Resist the temptation to say superior, different. They were better suited to some tasks, ill-suited to others, possessed of a mind that we cannot know. But that does not get us anywhere. What is it like to be an Isu? What is it like to be a bat? The implication that the Isu could read time is interesting, but if humans could read time, would it necessarily be in the same manner for the same purpose? Whether constructed or evolved, or a little of both, we cannot be said to have been built to achieve the same ends. A round disc on its edge is a wheel. A round disc on its edge is a wheel, on its side, a plate. How we use something can often determine its value and its perceived purpose. Isu Messengers 3. Message 3 excerpt. Break the code, break the node. These walls tell of a tragic story, a story we transcribed on our structures, on our artifacts, a story we could not alter, a mystery defying us in plain sight. We tried, our scholars and scientists, poets and physicists, bright minds, rebellious hearts, they all tried so hard to bring about change. We all failed. None could change what we discovered. The stories written into the walls of these rooms. The reader has no power. He is but an observer. But the author invents the future. The author owns the future. The Toba catastrophe, a supervolcanic event paired with a mass coronal ejection, was the beginning of the end for the Isu. It changed the Earth's environment, lowered its available oxygen levels, and generally fucked things up. The Isu never recovered. By our estimations, the last remaining Isu died just a century after the catastrophe. From that point forward, humans, their creation, ruled the roost. The disaster was not unforeseen. Isu scientists had known about their impending doom for years, perhaps decades, before the catastrophe occurred. To protect themselves, they worked feverishly to find a solution. 6 methods they tried, but due to a toxic combination of hubris, political infighting, and bad luck, all 6 failed. The final method proved the most promising and was nearly complete when tragedy struck. It was this method that Desmond Miles revived when he saved the world from a second solar flare in December 2012. This voice laments the compounded failure of their species to save themselves, but the truth is broader than that. They, with Desmond, saved us. Success deferred. Then this message, break the code, break the node, insistent and very puzzling. Isu Messengers 4. Message 4 excerpt. Linear continuity is a simulation that allows for variation. Within the linear continuity, there are nodes, choke points, moments where algorithms converge the flows of superposed possibilities to a single moment where only one absolute truth is possible. Paths are fluid, continuous. Nodes are static, changeless. And the wave function collapses the paths into nodes which branch out again and again and again. Can you feel the waves collapsing, trying to course correct Desmond's act of defiance? The incoming node needs the world to end. The algorithms have been carving the flow of possibilities towards that end for over 100 years now. Collapse the wave. Well outside my area of expertise. Must contact someone who knows this shit better. But what it seems to be saying, the structure of space-time, the universe is built in such a way that certain events or clusters of events are compelled to occur. A bottleneck through which space-time flows, and one nearly impossible to avoid. There is something about this catastrophe, the one Desmond averted in 2012, that compels it to return, indifferent to our fear or pain. It is a tidal wave, rippling across the sea of space. It crashes once against the dike, and that stopped it for a time. But the sea rears back for another strike. and another, and another. That gives some clarity to what is happening now, all around us, but it remains unclear how to change it, especially from within an animus, a simulation within a simulation. Isu Messengers 5. Message 5. Reality is a mathematical model which gets solved over and over again by the observer. Your thoughts are computations, and they render this world for you to call your own. Not all processors are alike. Different brains produce different realities. The variations go from the subtle to the drastic. Your mind defines how much you can taste, how much you can feel, how much you can understand. Perception defines perspective. We designed you and made sure to engineer your senses so you could perceive just what we needed you to, neither more nor less. There are parts of time we preferred you to remain blind to. It was necessity. If we could suddenly see time, that would not guarantee the same perception the Isu possessed. Let us speak of time as an entity, if we may. Let us say that time is a perceivable fact in the same way that light is a perceivable fact. The ability to see this fact is in no way guarantees a sympathetic view. There are creatures stumbling around this earth that read light differently than we do, and for different purposes. Humans see in a well-known spectrum. Roy G. Biv, or is it RYGBIV? Either way. This sense of color is confined to the 3 cones we possess. Yet nocturnal creatures see with a different scope for a different purpose: night stalking, hunting, lurking. They evolved in concert with their needs and are now constrained by them, as are we. Light is only a fact seen askance and used differently by different species. To suggest that we might read time is to imply that we have a specific use for time. Isu Messenger 6. Message 6. The next chapter is unstoppable, and yet the greatest revolutions sometimes originate from the confines of impossibility, do they not? Reality is a simulation. Break the code, and in so doing, escape the inescapable. The Animus was humankind's first unconscious attempt to explain what it could not see, understanding genetic memories, an eye into history. Your Animus is different, as is the mind that imagined it. It could escape the code. It could make the leap and make possible a decision that defies the order of things that are. It is ridiculous to imagine that I could change the nature of reality out there from within confines of an animus, a simulation within this so-called simulation. But I believe I understand that this voice is telling me my animus is endowed with the ability to suggest alterations to days long past. From any moment in time, I can extrapolate what might have been, calculations of time. I am not confined to what was, but what could have been. Yes, history is real, facts do matter, but from any moment in time I choose within the animus, I can integrate my memory. I can ask the world, what if? What if Bayek and Aya had stayed together? What if Kimu had not been murdered? I can suggest these hypotheticals and watch how they unfold. Why would I want to? for knowledge, for a better understanding of what tragedies were avoided. It remains to be seen. I am, in a sense, a reader of the calculations as the Isu were in days past. Perhaps one day I will be able to harness this talent to see into the future, to predict, to correct, to avoid. That would be worth something. Staff of Eden. Staff of Hermes Trismegistus. Acquired from the Eagle Bearer Cassandra 2018. Presumed manufacture date, late in the Isu Singularity, age around 75,100 BCE to around 2200 IE. This staff, one of many Isu staffs known to us, is first and foremost a medical device with the ability to heal, repair, restore, and rejuvenate organic tissues with unprecedented swiftness. It has been known to extend the life of its bearers well beyond the average human and Isu lifespans, and is presumed to have the ability to resuscitate living creatures in critical or suspended state. It has not been verified if the staff has the ability to resurrect the dead, but this seems unlikely based on its known features. It appears to work by reading and copying its bearer's DNA to ensure perfect replication on a broad scale. It is able to detect erroneous copies and deploy repairs so long as its bearer remains within direct contact. It has been used as a weapon infrequently, possibly by taking advantage of the tremendous power it draws from the Isu's wireless energy lattice. I don't know. The staff has also acted as a conduit or container for the personality of an Isu called Althea. Alethia. I'll go with Alethia for now. It is not known if this personality is Alethia's original consciousness or a simulation of the original, though most neuroscientists would call this a distinction without a difference. As of early 2019, the entity known as Alethia has made no further attempts to contact me. As yet, my purpose as the so-called heir of memories, as Alethia's has dubbed me, remains unclear. Known bearers: Hermes Trismegistus from around 75,100 to 75,000 IE. Pythagoras, 6th century BCE to 5th century BCE. Cassandra, 4th BCE. Can't open that. My stuff. Pictures. Let me look at the pictures. Cool. Now what's been thrown into the trash? File corrupt. File corrupted. Letter to Victoria Bibau. Wait, okay. This is an interrogation, but that will corrupt it. M and MME Bibau. My name is Layla Hassan. I was a friend and colleague of Victoria's, both at Abstergo and in our subsequent freelance careers. In all the time I knew and worked with your daughter, I was always struck by her limitless intelligence, her humor, and her ability to focus, even in times of great stress. She was an inspiration not just to me, but to all those who worked with her. I am writing to you now with the hope of shedding some light on the circumstances of her death. I realize it must be strange to receive a letter out of the blue from someone whose name you have probably never heard, offering to explain the tragic loss of one so dear. But if you'll allow me, I will try. I was with your daughter in the moments leading up to the unfortunate incident that took her life. In fact, I am partly to blame for. Alright. Seems like everything on the computer.
That's quite nice. Soothing. Some quality stuff here. You mind if I put some music on? Go for it. Cool. Sean has been busy.
Read. Strange message, an audio fragment sent from an unknown location to our encrypted servers. Nothing was stolen, nothing corrupted, just a quick deposit and gone. We got lucky this time. So what is it? A cryptic sound file, voice unknown, with a signal beneath it. The signal was a code that led us to a precise spot here in New England. We dug and, good lord, we struck gold. Well, silver, dominant currency in the Dark Ages. Point is, it was a gravesite, a Norse warrior dating to the late 9th century, early 10th century AD, a few centuries before the earliest known settlements. This is big news, if we have it right. Questions remain, how did these bones get here, and why?
Hello, Layla.
Sean, what do you make of the grave out there?
Well, it overturns a few hundred years of scholarship about the first Europeans to set foot in North America. Apart from that, it's just a bunch of muddy bones, isn't it?
Can we talk about this thing on my neck for a second?
Ah, the mood stabilizer. Yes.
It's not harmful, is it? I mean, I feel good, but I want to make sure there's no side effects.
There shouldn't be. It's only blocking outside signals, a passive effect. So the staff doesn't, you know, mess with you.
Sean, what happened last year, I had no control over that. I tried to resist.
I understand. And your old team, maybe they don't. But we've seen that sort of thing before. Still, if you want to work with us and get to the bottom of why the world is about to end for the second time in 8 years, then you wear that thing until we say otherwise. William's orders.
I know. It's not a problem.
It's just a few more weeks, yeah? Just until we figure this out.
You're right. I know you're right.
Alright.
All right, time to go. Norway to England takes about a week by long ship, so I'll scrub ahead.
Sorry, my mic fell out. Just need to do
Layla,
another test.
You okay?
Sorry. Can you play the message again?
We have the transcript if you're looking for something. I can
No,
go and...
I want to hear it.
Okay.
Okay.
I don't mean to be cryptic. It's just... that message led us here. To this place. To a Norse grave in North America. So those bones out there are the only lead we have. Our only chance at fixing this planet before it's too late.
Here it is.
I lived, I died, and now I sleep. And in my sleep I dream. And in my dreams I see an end to the doom that will grip
I just listened to this one.
Find the wolf-kissed. Find the mad one. Find me. And save us all from another death.
Unsettling, that is.
That pulse in the message. Are you sure it's just coordinates? Nothing else?
Nothing I can find.
Okay, I'm ready.
Here we go.